Though the movie Alien depicts a 4-stage cycle for the monster, including egg, facehugger and chestburster, the adult alien is the ultimate villain of the story. It's the most terrifying and does all the killing, except for Kane's death by the chestburster. The title of the film arguably refers to the full-sized creature, which is now a cultural icon, widely recognised. Endless merchandise and sequel films are spawned from this villain, which was vaguely conceived by writer Dan O'Bannon for the first movie, but fleshed out in all its glorious details by artist H.R. Giger, who was overseen by director Ridley Scott. The creative juices from these collaborators and others involved in the production were considerable, but if we had to pin down ownership of this design on one person, it would be H.R. Giger. To that effect, the Giger's Alien illustrated book outlines the design process. The adult alien is one of the most striking visual designs in cinema history. It managed to separate itself stylistically from near enough all movie monsters preceding the film, and though many movies have drawn inspiration from Giger's Alien since, I can think of very few that come even close to it in terms of striking and memorable design of the creature. Even the sequel films lack the same visual effectiveness, likely because Giger wasn't in control of the designs for those films. Jim Cameron's follow-up movie Aliens involved a slight redesign so that the alien suits would be cheaper to produce for multiple actors to wear. It's still good, but it feels like a climb down from the quality of the design in the original movie. Cameron's Queen Alien is a great movie monster too, but still it feels like it can't quite compete with Giger's original. As we'll explore in this video, the original Giger Alien succeeds not just because of easily observed facets such as, elongated head, teeth within teeth, black coloration or being tall and thin. It succeeds because of the fine details which carry all manner of implications. The visual design is multifaceted, and this I find is typical of movies that stand the test of time and maintain audience fascination. When a movie or a creature within a movie plays on audience perception in multiple ways at once, the complexity of the issue is hypnotic. It keeps public interest in the long term because it can't just be explained in a couple of simple phrases. So in this video I'm going to offer my personal breakdown of the adult alien visual design elements, and I've separated them into 6 basic categories. The first features what I'll call the primordial killer, and by that I mean that the creature, though being roughly humanoid, has many features that biologically reference much more primitive forms of life, especially insects and spiders. There's a simplistic kill or be killed, reproduce or fail to reproduce framing to the lives of spiders and insects, which in itself feels alien to we humans with our complex social systems and our empathy, which often even extends to empathizing with other animals. And even far less intellectually developed creatures like cats and dogs, who we strongly empathize with, even they are super advanced and socially aware in ways that most insects and spiders could never be. This primordial, non-social simplicity of the alien is referred to directly by the android Ash when he says he admires its purity, the fact that it is a survivor without conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality. But also, before they even encounter the alien in egg form, Ash, while looking at yellow code on a green screen, as if looking at minute life forms in swamp water, he describes the moon surface where the eggs will be found as almost primordial. The alien itself later lurks in dark, damp and dirty places like spiders and insects do. Note the inclusion of browns in the Giger's Alien cover art. This makes the alien seem slightly dirty. It's thin like an insect. It has 2 legs and 2 arms like a human, but also has 4 limb-like protrusions on its back, which we could maybe think of as being akin to insect wings or to the additional legs that spiders and insects have. It also has a long tail with a stinger on the end. The stinger isn't so evident in the film, but in this deleted scene it appears to sting Brett in the neck or spine, and this suggests that it's possibly a poisonous sting or a sting that can paralyze. Bees and wasps have stingers too, and so do scorpions, which are another primordial creature that looks similar to insects. I've also heard reports that writer Dan O'Bannon got the idea for the chestburster from the life cycles of spider wasps, which are wasps that sting spiders and plant their eggs inside the spiders, which then hatch and eat their way out. However, the earlier developmental designs by Giger lack the tail and stinger, and so it seems that that idea was brought in later, at least on the visual level. Like insects, the adult alien appears to have a hard shell exterior in places, especially on the top of its head, but also on the shoulders. In Giger's conceptual art, it looks like it has at least a partial exoskeleton structure. It's also mostly black in coloration, as most spiders and insects are. And one of the weirdest aspects of the alien is its mouth on the end of a tongue, which emerges from behind a large set of front teeth. I don't think I've ever read anything about where this idea came from or what the logic is behind it, but we all know from photography of insects and close-up that insects usually have mouths that are extremely different to that of humans and other large animals that have teeth or fangs. Insect mouths or mandibles are often incredibly ugly to us. Now, this creature has the exterior appearance of common animal fangs, but open the mouth up and something much more alien or primordial emerges. Relating to all this, one of the strangest pieces of concept art in the Giger's Alien book depicts the alien, probably in baby form, as having protrusions beneath its mouth that are similar to pedipalps. Pedipalps are the tiny arm-like things that stick out at the sides of the mouths of many spiders and scorpions, and Jim Cameron appears to have included similar in his Queen Alien design for the sequel. The fangs on a tongue which snap out at their prey also remind me of certain types of lizards and frogs whose long tongues lash out and grab flying insects to be eaten. Again, primordial. Now, Alien isn't the first movie to equate a dangerous extraterrestrial creature with common insects and spiders. Bug-eyed aliens, as they're commonly known, were popular in movies and sci-fi comics going back decades, back before Alien was released. However, the Giger's Alien design manages to separate itself from the bug-eyed aliens caricature, and I think the main way it does this is by not having the big stupid looking bug eyes at all. Some earlier sketches do have the bug eyes, and it immediately makes the monster look like just another variation on bug-eyed Martians. Removing the eyes, or making it very difficult to tell which details constitute eyes, makes all the difference. Good visual design isn't just about deciding what details to have, it's also about wisely choosing which details not to have. Ironically, I think the lack of eyes makes the creature seem even more primordial, because a lot of microscopic predators that live forever in the dark don't even have eyes, and so they are effectively blind. Regarding spiders, there are some more related elements. Giger's concept art shows the alien's hands as sometimes having lots of long, thin fingers reminiscent of spider legs. In this case, 8 spindly fingers, just as a spider has 8 legs, plus there's a thumb there too. In the movie, each hand has 6 digits altogether, but we do see the alien fingers moving across some pipes, which I think is about showing us its claws, but it also reminds me of an insect or spider crawling about. Oh, and by the way, the facehugger has precisely 8 legs, just like a spider. When it's curled up and dead on the floor, it certainly looks like a dead spider. We've all seen these before, and dead spiders with their curled up legs do look very alien, very unpleasant. Once again, Jim Cameron was right onto the spiders and insects theme because he has the facehuggers run about like spiders in his film. It's one of the strongest scenes. And the presence of a queen alien who lays eggs in a nest is very obviously reminiscent of bees' nests and anthills. In the first Alien film, the full-size creature makes its first appearance in Brett's death scene. It dangles from chains and climbs down from those chains like a spider hanging from a thread of silk or climbing down from a web. Deleted shots appear to show it floating in mid-air, which is strange. And that moment when it suddenly moves and scares the life out of Ripley at the end, it's kind of similar to how spiders and insects can make us jump if they happen to run out from behind an object that we move or pick up. Last primordial element to finish off this part of the video, the swamp creature details. Snakes, eels and worms were a very strong factor in some of Giger's concept sketches in earlier development, both for the Chestburster and the adult alien. The long alien head is equated with the predatory killer eel in multiple images, and the creature appears to be curled up or coiled like an eel in some images too. When the alien kills Dallas, we get to see its hands spread out, and they appear to be webbed. They look like the hands of the creature from the Black Lagoon. And then there's the excessive slimy secretions and saliva. There is a deleted scene in which it appears that the secretions from the alien are used to construct a nest, but I've always found the wetness and sliminess of the adult alien discomforting in itself. It reminds me of slugs, snails, leeches, slimy eels. The alien is first seen with water raining on it from above, which makes it look slimy, and that water dripping off the fangs gives the impression of saliva, but we also see mucus-like slime coming from the mouth here too. And much later when it kills Parker, there's no downpour of water from above, and yet its mouth is again secreting saliva as fast as a running kitchen tap. It gives the impression that the alien is really, really hungry. It is possible, though, that these mouth shots were borrowed from the rushes of Brett's death scene, and so the filmmakers just took advantage of the fact that the pouring water looked like saliva. Either way, it works very well. So lots of references to primordial killer creatures, insects, spiders, eels, and so on. For our second theme, we have the industrial machine appearance of the creature. This ties in with a long video I've written about Alien called The Machinery of Existence, but I haven't edited it yet. So to avoid a lot of overlap with that video, I'm going to mainly talk here just about how the machine features of the Alien convey its incredible strength and power. First of all, though, there's a crossover with the first theme that we already explored. Spiders and insects are really strong for their size. Having hardly any exterior soft parts, their exoskeletons make them look like military machines protected by hard black armour. And Giga's alien is similar. Its skull, for lack of a better word, appears to be a hard shell surface, like a beetle's back maybe. It's difficult to determine what's going on with the rest of its body surface. The shoulder joints in Giga's design give the impression of a hard shoulder plate exterior, like you would find on a suit of armour. And yet the elbow joints suggest flexible skin. In between the hard shell features and sometimes overlapping the skin, there are ribbed pipes and what appears to be wires or veins. These are also very concentrated around the jaw, and so these industrial mechanism features give the impression of the alien having biting power that's equivalent to the crush of a machine vice. Like maybe this thing could bite through concrete if it wanted to. Industrial strength biting power is also present in this surrealist concept sketch by Giga, by the way. Furthering that impression is that the alien's teeth appear to be made of shiny metal, so they're like glistening knives. With the baby alien seen in full light, the teeth are clearly made of a more metallic substance than the teeth that we're used to seeing in humans or other fanged predators on Earth. Remember the character Jaws in the James Bond films, who could bite through ropes and even kills a shark by biting it? Same principle here, industrial biting strength. Funnily enough, the character Jaws was really big as well, like the alien. James Bond versus Alien. Now there's a great comedy in the works. Slightly conflicting with the armoured exoskeleton appearance, there are stripped away parts of the flesh that seem to show industrial strength ribbed muscles underneath. The creature has what's known as wiry strength in its limbs, but in a more literal machine sense. This is especially evident in the deleted moments of Brett's death, where its long, thin arms crush his head. The machine element is, however, most obvious in the concept sketches, where Giga fused the beast with industrial machine backgrounds, to the point where sometimes we can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Note that here the tongue with a mouth on the end is replaced by an industrial drill, with the two insect-like arms beneath being like drills or hooks. My third visual theme for the adult alien is what I'll call the chameleon effect, but I've already made a dedicated video on that subject, which I will link in the video description below. And the basic concept is that the physical details of the Nostromo ship and the adult alien are deliberately designed in similar ways so that the creature can blend into the dark environments, putting the viewer at unease because the creature could be anywhere, just lurking in a wall, ready to pop out. But here I will add some extra details about that subject, which I don't think were in the video that I've already done. The main one is that the Giga's concept sketches mostly involve overlaps between the alien and the industrial background. It sort of blends in. On the book cover, the tail starts off as looking like a 3D object, but then it becomes an inverted etching into the metal background. And the title of the book itself is etched into the surface too. And another aspect regarding the chameleon effect, which I haven't really talked about, but which lots of people have raised when commenting on my previous videos, is the video game Alien Isolation. The Nostromo sets in the Alien movie and Alien Isolation video games are designed to make the viewer think that they're seeing the alien ready to attack, but then those details just turn out to be chunks of machinery and piping. I was already familiar with the video game, but I didn't like the gameplay, so I'd only played a short way into it. But after reading those comments, I went back and played the game all the way through, and yep, the chameleon effect visuals are there. In the game and the movie, it keeps up the subconscious feeling that the alien is always present and ready to attack. And even the facehuggers are subliminally worked into the sets, for example, this chunk of piping. Now this isn't something the people who made the video game thought up themselves. Interviews with the game designers revealed that they were given access to huge amounts of production artwork from the original Alien, stuff that we, the general public, have not seen, and they also had interviewed film editor Terry Rawlings, who edited Alien and did an incredible job on it. Rawlings understood the subliminal aspects of the movie and apparently explained much of it to the game designers. The result is a video game that visually matches the movie to a T, and yet it expands it in ways that totally fit. And the reason it fits is because they based a lot of their expansions on material from the Alien production that didn't end up being shown in the movie. Like I said, I don't like the gameplay, but the resulting atmospherics based upon visual and sound concepts from the original movie resulted in Alien Isolation being one of the most creepy, unnerving games I've ever played. What a shame they didn't just make a movie version of it instead. And now for a shameless commercial interlude. If you're enjoying this video and you've watched some of my other film analysis videos on Alien or other movies and you want to see a hell of a lot more, then you can go to my website, which is collativelearning.com, and go to the film analysis page, where you can scroll down and find that there's a ton of additional material available, videos that can be downloaded. Just click view product for the item that you're interested in, click add to cart, it goes up in the corner, and they stack up in the corner as you add them. So if you're interested in Alien, I've got some new ones on there, which are Alien Hypnotic by Design. That's a 2-hour video, really goes into the subliminal stuff throughout the film. Alien the Corporate Monster is the newest one. The title speaks for itself there. I've got another one called The Machinery of Existence, which should be up within the next week or so. And there's tons of other stuff there. What have we got? We've got Blade Runner, if you like more Ridley Scott stuff. We've got stuff on Jim Cameron. We've got A Clockwork Orange. There's tons and tons of stuff here. Dr. Strangelove, lots of Kubrick, lots of Ridley Scott, tons of classic movies studied here. So head over to the site and order some downloads. Alternatively, if you can't afford the downloads and you'd rather just pay a monthly subscription of a very small fee, then you can head to my Patreon page, which is linked in the video description below, and you will get access to some, but not all, some of the offline videos that are not available on YouTube. So you can get The Corporate Monster, Hypnotic by Design, and if you go through, there's other ones like my study of Night of the Living Dead and so on. You can get access to all of those by giving a monthly subscription payment to my Patreon page. Okay, so that's it, and now back to the video. Our next topic, which ties in with the chameleon effect, is the stealthy predator element. In the film, a pet cat is part of the narrative, and it's the only character besides Ripley who survives. But when Brett is killed, the cat watches his death with indifference. What's the point? Well, I think it's that the alien itself has cat-like stealth. It's able to move silently, it makes screeching noises, it hisses. In Chestburster form, it's even almost the same colour as the cat. Why wasn't it black here? And it makes a particularly cat-like noise here. I think the presence of the cat in the narrative sort of implies that the baby alien can sneak about stealthily in a similar way. In this production sketch, the adult alien has a very odd pose. It looks elegant and graceful, almost like a ballet dancer, even though its inner mouth is lashing out. The artful predator. And when it shows up for the killings of Brett and Lambert, it gracefully, artfully shows itself. Cats, when they're getting ready for the kill, they look incredibly graceful too. Same thing with predatory snakes as well. These creatures also tend to tense up right before the fast kill. They tense up and then they launch like a spring at the target. And this is something we seem to get with the alien. Slowly baring its 2 sets of teeth, it shakes as if building up incredible muscle tension that will be released in the biting moment. This teeth-baring and quivering mouth thing is also done by dogs in real life when they're trying to warn another creature to go away, or getting ready for the kill. See the teeth, see the danger, except with the alien, its teeth are permanently on open display, like it's always ready for the kill. Lots of fanged predatory animals have prominent snouts as well, the teeth placed outward from the face so as to make biting easier. And with the alien, the long head brings its teeth way out in front in an aggressive position. If this thing grabs you with its arms, then its teeth will be right there in your face, up close and ready to bite. Last issue under this theme is the size of the alien. When it first appears behind Brett, it looks massive, even in a crouched position, like in standing position, like it could be like 10 or 12 feet tall. Same again when it appears to Lambert. In the natural world, size ratios between predator and prey are usually a key factor. The bigger the stronger, the smaller the more vulnerable. So the movie plays upon this with extreme close-ups of teeth that make the mouth look huge. The alien casts a giant shadow here. And then there's tons of subliminal stuff suggesting a much larger creature. But that's already covered in my Hypnotic by Design video, so I won't repeat it here. Except to say that in these sketches in the Giger's Alien book, the alien figure is drawn in a strange, super tall manner, to the point where it looks like a hammer or the top of a walking cane. Most bizarre. Next up, the sexual threat element. This is an aspect of the movie that I have talked about before, so I'll keep it more condensed here, but also try to add in some new details that I've not mentioned previously. The alien is a subliminal sexual threat to the crew, especially the women. Ripley encounters it when she's almost naked at the end of the film. Lambert, the only other female crew member, is attacked by the alien moving its tail up between her legs right before the kill. Clearly a rape metaphor the way it's been edited here. In shots that didn't make it into the film, the alien tail is presented pointing forward like a phallus. First when the creature hovers over Brett, arms wide open and tail forward. It then puts its tail up between his legs to presumably sting him in the neck. This was edited out and the rising tail shot was inserted into Lambert's death scene instead, but the next sting shot was scrapped. The result is it looks very much like she's been raped. And also from deleted footage of Lambert's death scene, the alien approaches her with phallically positioned tail pointing right at her. On the Giger's Alien book cover, the tail is being held up by the alien like a phallus, and it arches in parallel with the more clearly phallic-shaped head. And in this set photo from the same book, tail quite clearly in phallic position. It's funny, I have mentioned this phallic head thing before, and some commenters responded by assuming that I see phallus metaphors in everything. Now that's nonsense. If you watch my other videos that aren't about Giger's artwork, it's very rare that I point out phallus metaphors. I talk about it in Alien because it is there, and it ties in with the film's very important sexual themes, which included the first draft screenwriter describing the facehugger as a facial rape. Something else interesting is that just as the facehugger combines female genitalia appearance with facial rape, the adult alien seems to have a bit of a unisex aspect to it as well. The hands are slim and elegant like those of a woman rather than those of a killer. They appear to caress things like the alien as a femme fatale. From the waist down, the creature appears to be far more human in its basic contours, elegant and even athletic looking, but not identifiable as male or female. It almost looks like a graceful supermodel ready to stroll down the aisle. And here's something funny. On the book cover, Giger has written the name Mia beneath the word alien. It's clearly written, but it's placed so that it's very easy to miss. Now, Mia Bonzanigo, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, was Giger's girlfriend from 1978, and they got married in 1979, the year when Alien was released, but they got divorced within a year or two after that. Now, Giger's former partner, Lee Tobler, who committed suicide, had frequently been depicted in his paintings, usually as some sexual mechanoid figure, and sometimes as being dead or in the process of suicide. Apparently she talked to Giger about suicide a lot, and it ended up in his paintings. So, on the Giger's Alien book cover, is the presence of the name Mia a devoted to statement for Mia Bonzanigo, his partner at the time? Or is it one of Giger's sly jokes implying that the alien represents Mia? If they were having relationship problems at that point, which led to divorce, then this could be Giger taking a swipe at her by equating her with the alien. He had done stuff like that before, by the way. The funniest one being a set of images and accompanying letter that he'd sent to a high-level politician in his country, offering visual designs of how to create an oppressive social structure consisting of 5 cities contained within pyramids, with tram lines between them that would create a giant pentagram symbol crossing the entire country. Obviously he was mocking the politician. He didn't like authoritarianism or political correctness, and bravo to him for that, and he often drew or painted things specifically to offend his ideological opponents. He's also put the name of the production company 20th Century Fox into this image. I don't think I've ever seen him put a company logo into an image before. But regarding the presence of his wife's name, Mia, if this is intended to be a reference to the alien creature representing her, then that would further the unisex aspect of the beast. Something interesting is that a commenter on one of my YouTube videos about Alien said that he thought the alien was designed to look like a motorcycle, with the head being sort of like a wheel guard and the big spines at the back being like exhaust pipes. I haven't come across anything else to support that, but it is interesting that goths and bikers tend to have an affinity for Giger's artwork and the alien design itself. I suppose its ornate blackness renders it a gothic looking creature. And the motorcycle perception further links in with the alien being part machine in appearance. This also raises for me an observation that the more humanoid features of the alien physique are leathery or rubbery looking, so it looks kind of like a biker, or perhaps even like a bondage gimp. Remember that scene from Pulp Fiction, Bring Out the Gimp? Well, that would make this alien creature the killer gimp. Last theme here in the alien visual design is that the creature seems to represent death itself. Set reports and production photos show the alien as having two large eye sockets at the front of the head, but hidden under a transparent dome. In the movie, the head dome doesn't seem transparent at all, but there's a brilliant camera shot that was deleted from Brett's death scene. Here, the human-looking eye sockets are visible beneath the dome, but they're hollow. No eyes to be seen, just vacant blackness within. Combined with the grinning teeth, this creates the impression of a deathly human skull. The Grim Reaper has arrived in alien disguise. I really wish this shot had made it into the final cut of the film because it looks superb, and it kind of pushes that Grim Reaper theme. The Grim Reaper and this alien are associated with the colour black, with prominent grinning teeth as a kind of mockery regarding human mortality. The skinniness of the alien and the ribs on the outside make it look like a skeleton, and the way it's holding its tail here, we could think of that as the Grim Reaper holding his sickle. There are no soft, fleshy features at all on the alien. It looks like the living dead. It does have lips of a sort here when it kills Parker, but they're transparent, and so the living dead impression remains. A noteworthy comparison is this Necronomicon picture, which Giger had painted before being involved with the Alien film. Clearly the final creature takes inspiration from this. The phallic head, the spines coming out the back, and the phallic tail curled up, held in one hand and placed in parallel with the long head. But this creature isn't black. It looks like it's made of bone, and the face has eyes that appear insectoid, yet similar to the eye sockets of a skull. Despite these differences, this creature does appear to represent death as well. The insectoid eyes that were featured in earlier design sketches for the movie are pointy and therefore suggestive of evil, kind of like the eyes of a wasp, which look much more aggressive than those of, say, a fly. In the finished creature design that we see in the movie, I think the absence of eyes in itself makes this creature more deathly, like it has no soul, like it is the lifeless vacuum of space presented in humanoid form. There are some details that possibly suggest the presence of eyes though, such as the white reflection on the dome here, placed in an eye position, a prominently reflective detail in this set photo, which is also in an eye position. I always wondered whether tiny slit eyes are present in the wiry features on either side of the face, but not being able to identify the eyes I think is also powerful for conveying the creature's lack of empathy. And to finish off this theme, there's the simple fact that this creature likes to show itself to its prey before the kill. It stands grinning before them as if mocking their mortality. The inevitable void of death has emerged from the dark shadows to claim its prize. Okay, so that's my take on the Alien visual design, broken down into 6 themes: the primordial killer, the killing machine, the chameleon effect, the stealthy predator, the sexual threat, and the Grim Reaper. I'm sure a lot of you have your own take on it though, so feel free to comment and discuss below. You've been listening to Rob Ager. If you want more, then do support my work by either signing up to me on Patreon or ordering the digital downloads of my offline videos. You can also keep updated by following my Facebook and Twitter feeds. The links to all those are in the video description below. Take it easy, folks.